Well, my name is Leslie Ojeaburu. I am born in Nigeria, live in Seattle. I am a senior studying human developmental and regenerative biology. And with the secondary in global health and health policy, if I can get this paper out. And there are a few, but the ones that to a couple of them that have been the most formative for my Harvard experience is one, been Roxbury Youth Initiative Term Time. It's a PBHA program set in Roxbury. It's been a lot of fun, it's been challenging. We work with kids from like first grade to 7th grade, and there's some sassy kids, but you definitely learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about managing people. You learn a lot about motivating people, motivating little people. And it's definitely been an experience I've grown from. So that's the first one. I was involved in the best club basketball team ever, like hands down. Harvard Hoopsters, good group of brothers, great guys. I would say we're more of a social team that likes the ball, but we ball a lot too. And a little bit more in the past, I did Harvard College Faith in Action. That's been a great organization, one that definitely taught me how to look critically at what I believe and look critically at my faith. And there's been ups and downs, of course, in that journey, but it's been one that's led me along the right path constantly. So great mentors, great people. So that's a few. I kind of knew I wanted to do research. I knew that I was going to be concentrating in the sciences here, and I felt that research was going to be a good way to learn how to think, because I feel like that's what Harvard always tells you a liberal arts college degree does. It teaches you how to ask questions and how to go about answering them. So my first year, I went back home, worked at the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center. It was a lot of work, a lot of fun. Worked in this really small lab, and there was like 3 other people in it. So I definitely took on a lot more responsibility than I was expecting. But I learned so much. Had my own project, worked with my cells, killed a lot of my cells, didn't know what I was doing, eventually learned halfway into the summer. So that was a fun experience freshman year. Going into sophomore year, I knew I wanted to continue that. I knew that I wanted to find a lab at Harvard, and I was fortunate enough to be involved and able to be in the Zon Labs, which is a lab that does zebrafish work in blood and stem cells and just everything hematopoiesis at the Sherman Fairchild buildings. And yeah, I did prize, got that funding, got that money. Yeah, but also got to do my research. Got a great postdoc who's been a mentor for me from sophomore year till now. What I realized from that summer is that science is a lot more than bench work. Science is a community. Science, just working in the lab is meeting people and learning from them. So that was sophomore year. Junior year, summer, that was a wild one. So it was really funny. Over like 4 years, I found that my interests have been shifting. I knew I wanted to do medicine, but I also thought business was something I wanted to at least explore. So that summer I thought I would be a little more risky, try something new. So I worked for a startup company that did real estate technology, tech stuff. Really random, I know. It was crazy when I started it, but got to work as the regional manager for Boston. Got to learn how to manage people. Got to learn how to manage logistics, which logistics is hella hard. Oh my gosh, it was a lot of work for the summer. But I only did that for part of the summer. I was able to transition pretty well. Trained a good friend who's still doing it right now, so it was a lot of fun. And towards the end of the summer, I went back to research, even though I did just thesis stuff. So I think a lot of the things you learn doing business is applicable to everything. I'm not that organized of a person, but I quickly learned that if I didn't have my whole schedule set, didn't have emails ready, didn't have a system to tell me what I need to get done on a given day, I'll just be swamped and super stressed out. So definitely took a lot from that. Something I learned from freshman year, it's just that Harvard can be a hard space, man. Harvard is, you have some of the best and brightest. You came in from high school feeling like, you did well. You did well in high school. You made a name for yourself, made a legacy, and then you come to Harvard and you realize that there are so many people here who've done that and infinitely more. So that was something that I should have known coming into Harvard, but it just didn't hit me until freshman year. And I realized initially that, or I thought initially that you had to constantly compare yourself, and that I felt that I never could never fully stack up to my peers. Academically, doing all those science classes, realizing that I'm not as great at science as I thought I was in high school, and just feeling like you had to still put on this persona of knowledge, of acting like you know what you're doing, acting like you know all the answers on your PSET while you're grading it when really you don't. But one thing that I learned coming out of that semester, and going into sophomore year actually, was that actually some of the brightest people that I've had the chance to meet at Harvard are the ones who first of all recognize the limits of their knowledge, and who don't set an unrealistic limit actually, just realize just the baseline level, here's what I know, and yet pursue so fervently ways to learn more. They ask some of the best questions. The real MVPs in section isn't the section kid who's done all the readings. No, it's the person who asked that basic question that you were thinking, but just were not comfortable enough to ask yourself. So that's one thing I've learned at Harvard. Knowledge can be deceiving if you look at it from the perspective of society at large, but that sometimes, just recognizing how much you don't know is the sign of really great knowledge, really good intelligence. There are a lot of really awesome mentors that you can find at Harvard. Actually, how I got my research position was through my sophomore advisor, my pre-med advisor. He just told me, hey, this is a great lab, this is a guy that really pours into his undergrads. I was like, oh, I'm down with that. So I emailed him, and it was as easy as that. So definitely making use of the mentors that Harvard provides you. For example, freshman year, seeing your path as not just another student, but seeing them as someone who's gone through what you're already going through as a freshman, has learned from that, has learned not just from their experience, but from the experiences of other upperclassmen who's poured into them, and just using that, using your peers. Also using your proctors, using your concentration advisors, talking to them, asking them questions not only about academics, but asking them real life questions, because they're real people too. They've struggled with love, they've struggled with uncertainty, with lack of confidence, with all sorts, and they can really pour into you. And that's actually something I wish I'd done a lot more. Make use of my professors going to office hours, because they're really useful. So there's that. I think another resource that isn't used as much, the Bureau of Study Council. They have good cookies, they have study times, and it's a great space, also cool people. Other resources. But yeah, I would say use your peers, use your other upperclassmen, use those people. They know what they're talking about. And if they don't, you'll find someone who does. So, yeah. Oh, I have some great freshman year moments. This is a kind of maybe a little bit of a long story, but hopefully cut it down a little bit. So I lived in Maui for my freshman year, which you probably won't know what Maui is, but it's a small dorm behind. Is it Stoughton? It is Stoughton, I think. You see, I don't even remember. It's too far removed. But yeah, I lived in Maui. It was a very small dorm. Had a roommate that I shared a room with. I was on the top bunk, he was on the bottom bunk. And for some reason, our bathroom, our freshman year, had a door that just couldn't be shut. Like, it just wasn't able to be locked. And it led out to this like fire escape, which we called our place of refuge. And one day I was, just using the restroom, doing what you do, and I noticed that the door was flapping against something else. And so when I was done, I peeped my head out, and I looked out my window, and I saw that I could look into the guy's room right across the hall. Turns out our bathrooms had been connected. I ran out to them and was like, guys, whoa, did you know that like our bathrooms are connected? Like, I could literally go through my window and like walk into your room. And they were like, yeah, we've known that since the beginning of the year. And so I was like, okay, cool. We'll get it fixed later in the week. So fast forward a couple of days after that, the handyman is supposed to come in the next, on Friday, it's Thursday. And I'm sleeping, and so is my roommate. And randomly, this is like 4 o'clock in the morning, I just wake up and I see these guys walking into my room. One of them is wearing like a horse mask. Another one is wearing those like V for Vendetta like masks as well. And the other guy just has his hood up. And like, part of me was like, should I say something? Should I scream? My roommate is like gonna be in a fraternity. I don't know if fraternities do some interesting stuff. Should I wake him up? So I didn't. And like a couple seconds later, I hear this like crazy scream, and I see my roommate jump out of his bunk, the bunk under me, and just like pace around. And I hear voices, and I'm like, wow, these voices sound familiar. And I look closely at the guy who had the hood on, and turns out it was the guys who lived across from us. They had known that we were going to get our door fixed and decided to take that opportunity to scare the crap out of us late at night. So that's definitely an experience that I remember, just because it's wacky, it's weird. You don't have guys who come into your room at 4 a.m. With a horse mask on anywhere else other than in college. So that's great. And when we did our senior brunch, that's definitely a memory that came up. So yeah, it's those wild memories that will definitely stay with you. So yeah, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to be in a relationship with people. Don't be afraid to just live. I think is probably the advice I would give my freshman year self. Be confident. Not necessarily in yourself. Be confident in people around you. Be confident in your faith. Be confident in just be confident. Find confidence and find it in a place that can't be taken away from you. Which is not the external things, but I think it's more internal. That's the advice I would give. And you are the real MVP, man. You are a solid dude. Keep doing what you're doing. Train those freshmen, train those underclassmen, and be wise. I respect you a lot. Same with lots of people in my class. I'm not going to name them all, but Black class of 2016, y'all have been the homies, and yeah, my sister, she's cool. Sheila, Ojeaburu, you're amazing. Definitely, I don't think I could have done this experience if you hadn't been there mentoring me from freshman year. So thank you so much for being there for me, being a mother away from home, my second mom. So yeah, thanks you. And thank you Harriet and Sheena for doing this project. Like, this is awesome. This is really, really cool.